Hi there, folks. Sherry Schreiber of GettingBetter.com. And I've already done a video on proper food combining and how to lose weight easily. But I decided it was time to do another one because I think the other one ran a long time and may have been somewhat confusing to you. So I'm doing another one today. I'm hoping this will be a quickie, a short one. But it may get a little tangential, so I hope you'll forgive me and just take the ride with me and learn something today about how to get your weight off and keep it off forever. Now, I've been doing proper food combining for close to 30 years now. And I have to tell you, I've been on every diet that's ever been invented prior to this, and nothing has ever worked long term for me. So for me, this is a fountain of youth kind of thing. And without going into a lot of background, I had an eating disorder for many, many, many years. I mean, well into my 40s, probably into my mid 40s. And I turned to food to soothe other feelings that were coming up that I wanted to swallow down or distract from or whatever. But I'm not here to talk with you about that today. You might want to, as an addendum to this video, and I will certainly put the link to this article, you might want to look at my article online at gettingbetter.com called Are You Unhappy Because You're Heavy or Heavy Because You're Unhappy? But I really want to teach you the principles, the main principles of proper food combining today. Don't get scared by the title. Okay, this is the easiest thing you will ever do. It's easy to lose weight if you have the right information, the right tools. It's easy. It's the simplest thing you will ever do. Okay, so here goes. And I'm hoping nothing disrupts this video while I'm talking with you, computer-wise. Okay, here we go. Rule number 1, never, ever mix starch in a meal with protein. This means if you're going to have pasta, don't put any kind of protein in it. Seafood, fish, chicken, shrimp, anything like that. You don't want to do this. Even cheese, stay away from it. You can have all the pasta you want. You can eat as much garlic bread as you want. You can have all the fat and oil you can possibly hold. You don't have to watch your fats and oils eating this way. They're actually good for you and keep your skin kind of elastic and vibrant. But you do not have to count calories on this way of living. And I call it this way of living because it really becomes routine for you to start thinking about your meals this way. And that's what we want. We want you to think about your meals a little more consciously so that you can combine them properly so that your body can take the nutrients it needs and discard the rest. Okay. So no calorie counting, no watching your fats and oils. Let's see, what else? Do not limit your intake. You can eat as much as you want, which is, pardon me, itch, which is what appealed to me when I started eating this way, because I didn't ever want to feel deprived. And with proper food combining, you don't have to suffer deprivation. You'll be making some modifications. But we don't want you to feel deprived. We want you to be able to eat anything under the sun that you want and not have to worry about weight gain from it. And here's how we do it. Okay? Don't mix starch and protein in the same meal. If you're going to go out for a steak or a chicken, Don't be having rice or baked potato or noodles alongside of it. Don't be having croutons in your salad with it. Just vegetables. So whether you're eating starch or vegetables, pardon me, you only want to eat, or starch or protein, I should say, you only want to eat vegetables with them. You do not want to mix the starch and protein. Now, I was talking to my sister a couple days ago, and she's had a weight problem for years. But I told her I only weighed about probably these days 110 to 112. I never weigh myself. I'm skinny. And she says, oh my God, that's so thin. Yeah, it is. And it's never going to change. And here's why. Our bodies are incredibly intelligent. They know how to heal us. I mean, really, if you've ever watched a cut or a scrape heal, your body is incredible in its infinite wisdom of how to go about healing us. And it also knows how to take nutrients from the food we put in it, so that we're getting the most out of what we eat. And here's the deal. On a scientific level, when you eat protein, your stomach secretes hydrochloric acid. It's a very strong substance to break it down, to digest it, to make it assimilable by your body. Hydrochloric acid. When we get a little older, sometimes we take digestive enzymes to help along with the stomach enzymes that start to diminish as time goes by. So hydrochloric acid breaks down whatever protein we put in our stomach. Eggs, cheese, beef, lamb, chicken, whatever you can think of in the way of animal proteins, or byproducts of animals like yogurt, milk, stuff like that, okay? Milk is a protein. We ate starch, potatoes, rice, yams, noodles, pasta, anything starchy. Your stomach secretes an alkaline enzyme to break it down, make it assimilable by your body so you can use that carbohydrate perhaps for energy or warmth. Okay? So when we're eating starch and protein in the same meal, what happens is both of those enzymes are getting secreted. And what happens when you mix alkaline with acid? They neutralize each other, so nothing gets digested. Nothing actually gets digested. You cannot take nutrients from undigested food. Now, this undigested food's going to sit in your stomach for hours. And it's going to start rotting. Because think of it this way. If you put a turkey in a 98.6 degree oven, would you expect it to cook? Or would you expect it to stay just warm enough that it would collect bacteria and possibly kill you after 12 hours if you tried to eat it? It's the same with the food in our stomach that cannot be digested because it's improperly combined. And the enzymes are mixing and nullifying each other. Now, here again, the body in its infinite wisdom to take care of us wants to get that putrefied, rotted food out of our stomach. So ultimately, the peristaltic action of the stomach, the natural peristaltic action, is going to force that food down into the intestinal tract just to clear it out of the tummy so that you can have another meal one day. But this food is rotted. It's bacteria laden. it cannot be digested, and it's going through your entire intestinal tract and colon this way, which is going to make you fatigued, which is going to make you sick, which is going to give you polyps in your colon and require that you get regular colonoscopies to avoid colon cancer from all that putrefied waste that's sticking in your colon, kind of like mortar up against the colon walls. So, and the more you eat improperly combined foods, the more that colon gets impacted. We've all seen men whose bellies are hanging over their belts, right? But that's a distended colon. That's a colon that's just jam-packed with putrefied, encrusted waste that has accumulated over the course of 50, 60 years. We don't want that for you. Even with women, women that have big bellies and bloat. This isn't a distended colon. This is a colon that's been stretched out because of all the toxic putrefied waste that's sitting in it that can't leave the body. It's like stuck there like concrete. So when you continue eating this way, that waste never really fully gets eliminated. But when you stop eating that way, when you start combining your foods properly, that waste starts to slowly start leaving the colon. And if you want to go for high colonics or colon therapy, that's really helpful to start moving that crap out of you. They're not painful. They're not uncomfortable. It's a very pleasant experience. It's not at all like an enema, but I highly recommend it. It can really get you started on rapid weight loss. Okay, so I had my stepmother and her stepson from a second marriage over the other day for lunch. And what I made was I made some sauteed catfish and seasoned it up really well, and had some green beans in there, and it was delicious. And I also made a salad for us. So this is a perfectly combined meal. Everybody was satisfied. Everybody was full and contented. And here's an interesting fact. The thing with food combining, if you do it properly, is you don't have this urge to keep eating. When you don't combine your foods properly, your stomach never gets the message, okay, I've eaten enough to satisfy my hunger now, because nothing's getting digested. The brain doesn't get the signal, I've eaten enough. So you want to keep having sweets and sugar and desserts on top of that, and you never really feel satisfied. So you want to keep eating whatever you can get your hands on. But when you're properly combining your food, that food starts digesting immediately in the stomach. Immediately. There's no delay on it. So as you're eating, that food's already getting digested and assimilated by your body. And your stomach is very happy for it. And you feel satisfied after a meal, not stuffed or bloated. Thanksgiving dinner, I never eat the turkey. I eat stuffing, provided it doesn't have protein in it. I eat yams, I eat desserts, I eat vegetables till my heart's content. I might take a little breast meat of the turkey home and season it up like crazy and brown it in a pan like over the next day or two as a meal, but I never eat the turkey when I go to Thanksgiving dinner. So while everybody's lying back and going, oh, I'm so full, I'm so stuffed, and they're dozing off in the middle of a conversation, I'm wide awake and I feel great. Don't mix starch and protein in the same meal. If you eat a heavy protein meal, it's going to take several hours to leave the stomach before you can have a bag of chips or something. Okay? I've been known to have French fries for lunch. Just that. With a condiment or two on it. I've been known to take myself out for a dinner and have a couple of hot fudge sundaes for dinner if I'm in the mood for something sweet. But I eat my sweets like a separate meal. That's the trick. You do not eat them on top of regular nutritious food. Now, if you're at a wedding or something and you just have to have dessert, you know, you gotta have some wedding cake or something. Maybe you can plan ahead, have a vegetarian meal so you can have some of that wedding cake because that's carbohydrate and carbohydrate. Or maybe they've got some pasta. They can serve you vegetarian pasta. You can fit in a dessert as long as you keep it within the carbohydrate or protein realm. Now, let me explain. You're out somewhere, you have a steak dinner, you have some nice vegetables sauteed along the side of the plate, and your honey or whoever you're with says, "Oh, you know what? I'm really in the mood for dessert." What do? You order something that's protein-based, like creme brulee or ice cream that you can share, or cheesecake without the crust. Okay, there are ways of working around this food combining thing to where you can have exactly what you want. I don't recommend this on a regular basis. This dessert thing, it's much better if you eat all the sweets you want at a given time as a given meal and not have them on top of real food, regular food, nutritious food. The only caveat to this from someone who overdid this for a long time and suffered some physical consequences from it is that eating that much sugar in one shot really puts a strain on your pancreas. That's the part of your body that secretes insulin to deal with the sugar load that you're putting in your body. And I think I frankly came very close to turning myself into a diabetic years ago, because once I discovered proper food combining, I realized I could eat as much sweets, pastries, a box of See's chocolate as I wanted and never gain weight from it. So I went whole hog on this deal, and I'm sugar sensitive today. I have to really be careful about how much starch and sugar I eat, because if I'm not cautious, I'll have terrible leg cramps during the night, Charlie horses, stuff like that. So it's taught me to be more discretionary about my diet, let's say. So that's the caveat, okay? But you can have sweets, you can have desserts. Just try and eat them as a separate meal. When it comes to fruit, Harvey and Marilyn Diamond, who taught me about this indirectly, I mean, I'm driving in my car almost 30 years ago, and I never listened to talk radio, but they were being interviewed on a station, talk station, and I caught part of the end of this interview. And they were talking about proper food combining because they wrote Fit for Life, which was a fabulous book. The original book is fabulous, and it tells you exactly why this works and how this works, this proper food combining. Caught the tail end of that broadcast. And since I've always been health conscious and wanted to do good things for my body and my emotions, I was listening, and it sounded like a healthier way to eat, healthier way to create healthy elimination from my body. And so I started eating this way, and lo and behold, I went off to Mexico with a fella I was dating at the time. And we were there for 4 days, and I lost 4 pounds in 4 days. Now, I chalked it up to, well, I'm always more active on vacations. I'm swimming more. I'm walking more. Didn't think much about it. But when we came back to town, I continued to eat this way. I never mixed starch and protein. And I was still having a couple of chocolate bars mid-afternoon, several hours in between meals, and losing weight. I'd finally come to terms with my weight. I'd finally accepted my body the way it was at that time. I was probably around 132 to 135, and I at the time was 5'9". I think I maybe have shrunken an inch or so at this stage in life. But I made peace with my body. I said, okay, I'm going to make peace with being Zoftig the rest of my life and not hyper focus on this and try and change it all the time. I was also lucky enough to be dating a incredibly sexy Greek man who kept saying, Sherry, you could put on a few more pounds. So I had that validation as well and confirmation that my body was all right just the way it was. But when I started eating this way after our vacation, came back and kept eating this way, I kept losing chunks of weight. It was like 3 to 5 pound chunks would just suddenly fall off my body. It wasn't like when you're doing food combining, it's not a gradual weight loss. It's never a gradual weight loss. You won't get on the scale and, oh, wow, I lost a pound since yesterday. It's not like that. It'll come off in little chunks, like 3 to 5 pound chunks, whether you're working out or not. I don't work out. Okay, I'm pretty sedentary, actually. It'll just come off. It'll melt away. And if you can clean out that colon, it'll melt away much faster. Go to a colon therapist. So that's how it's done. Fruit should be eaten by itself on an empty stomach. If you want to have that first thing in the morning, that's fine. It kind of sets your intestinal tract up for the rest of the day in a good way. If it's too much sugar for you, as it was for me for many years, I can do it now, but it didn't work for me for a long time. I did better with protein to start my day. But if you want to have your fruit in the morning, that's fine. If you want to have your fruit in a pastry or with a pastry, you can get away with that. If you want to have a peanut butter and jam sandwich in the morning for breakfast, you can get away with that because it's all carbohydrate. The peanuts are actually more carb than protein. So I'm giving you as much information as I can possibly give you about how this works, why this works. You want to keep that environment in your stomach either acid or alkaline. Remember, protein triggers an acid, hydrochloric acid response in your stomach. Starches trigger an alkaline response in your stomach. When you're eating both together, they cancel out each other. It's not good. So my sister told me every morning she eats fruit with yogurt in it. That's a no-no. If you want to have that, occasionally have it. It's kind of like, once in a blue moon, I get a hard-on for pizza. And I called Pizza Hut and have them deliver a large pizza, and I'll probably eat a third to a half of it and then freeze the rest. I don't get pepperoni on it anymore. But just, the cheese and the bread, it's not a great combination. But if I really have a strong craving for something, I'll go ahead and have it, even if it's a corned beef sandwich. But it's one of those rare occurrences. And 98 to 99% of the time, I properly combine my food. What else do I want to tell you about this? Okay, fruit. Not great to put protein on it, okay? Leave the yogurt off for now. Eat it maybe once a week as a treat, but have just the fruit to start your digestion going and clean your intestines out. And then my sister said, and then I have an egg and a couple pieces of toast. And I'm sitting here going, oh God, oy. It's like you couldn't do anything worse to yourself. And then a cookie or two, she said. And I'm thinking to myself, my darling, you're starting each day out the wrong way. It sets you up for an endless cycle of staying hungry and not feeling really satisfied and sated. So I've decided that, what we have is what we want. And in fact, I have a video on this. What you have is what you want. There's a reason you want to keep this insulation around you, this fat, this layer of protection. There's a reason you want that. Now, some females are scared of losing weight. They're scared of becoming trim and thin and svelte. Why? Because they don't want catcalls from guys on high rises that are cleaning the windows or building those skyscrapers. Well, ladies, take it as a compliment. Take it as a compliment to you. If somebody's giving you that kind of attention, it's because you look gorgeous to them. They're not doing it to annoy you. They're doing it because you're beautiful to them. It doesn't mean you have to date them. It doesn't mean you have to marry them. It just means that if you can accept that graciously as a compliment, as a mirror for you, as a validation, confirmation that you're appealing and attractive, and go on your merry way that day and enjoy the rest of your afternoon, you can do that. Okay? Some women are afraid, men too, of getting really close to somebody. So they keep this insulation on. And I don't know, that's a deep, complex psychological set of issues there that I'm not going to get into today. But what we have is what we want. Every condition in your life is what you've set up for yourself. So if you really want to get thin, and I'm thinking of standing up and showing you a picture of me, but I don't know if that's going to be too successful. But I'm really skinny these days. And I had myself convinced as a younger woman I was going to be a fat old lady. I really did. I figured once my vanity wasn't on the front burner for me, I'd just keep indulging myself and eat as much as I possibly wanted to eat and become a fat old lady and not care so much about it. Well, thankfully I discovered this fountain of youth, and that never has to happen. I'm going to be skinny by the time I'm 6 feet under. I'm just convinced of it. And I eat everything under the sun that I want. Recently bought myself, since I'm carb sensitive, I recently bought myself a little on the internet, a little like vegetable spiraling thing, so I can make like zucchini spaghetti. I can make spaghetti made out of zucchini. And you season that in whatever way I want. And the good news about this is if I want, I can have cheese on that because it's just vegetable and sauce and cheese, right? No protein, no starch. Well, the cheese would be a protein, but you get the idea. I can have cheese on that vegetable pasta, but if I want. But try this just one meal at a time. Do this, and I promise you, you're not going to have to go for regular colonoscopies because that colon of yours is going to be clean as a whistle. I have a little diverticulosis, that's little pockets in the colon. I've learned not to eat red pepper flakes. I eat a lot of cayenne, ground red pepper, but I don't eat red pepper flakes anymore because if one gets lodged in one of those little pockets, um, it's bloat and enormous soreness and pain for up to 2 weeks. It's horrible. So, um, but the last colonoscopy I had, I knew that I would have no polyps because I've been eating this way for close to 30 years. And I don't have any putrefied waste in my colon. It's clean as a whistle. Okay. So remember, starch and protein must be separated, even if it's milk. If you want to have cereal in the morning, use almond milk or rice dream or something like that on it. I will occasionally have cereal, and I use evaporated milk on it, but it's like the pizza thing. You know, I do this once in a blue moon if I'm really in the mood. And when you do something very rarely or occasionally, it doesn't hurt you. Okay? So I'm hoping this is educational for you. But you can lose this weight. This is the easiest way to do it. Don't count calories. Don't limit your portions. Don't watch your fats or oils. Just start combining your meals properly, and I promise you, within probably 3 weeks, you're going to notice a chunk of weight's come off. And pretty soon, you're going to be wearing your skinniest wardrobe. And you're probably also going to have more energy and vitality, more mental focus, and your elimination is going to be a lot better. Okay? All right. I hope this is hit. Oh, I can see this is run on 32 minutes. I apologize. But even though the principles of this are simple, we all need explanations to teach us why this works and how this works. And that's what I want to gift you today. So happy eating. Again, if you want to have just potato chips for dinner, it's okay with me. You're not going to gain weight that way. All right? Or French fries. Or ice cream sundaes. And bye for now.